Hi everyone, I'm Klaus, the Dungeon Noob's Guide, and welcome to this tutorial one-shot for Cortex Prime, taking place in the setting known as The Other. Here, that's our world. A world of elves and orcs, humans and goblins, all living together in harmony. At least, we would be, if it wasn't for the horrors caused by the veil. A plane of endless blackness and infinite magical potential. The magic seeps into our world. Weavers can use it in various ways to our benefits, but the magic also corrupts and twists things in our world. But what's worse is the place that the veil connects to, where if you find a tear in the veil and walk through the void steps through the pure blackness of the veil itself, you'll find yourself in a world that mimics our own, in the same way that a shifting eldritch horror wearing a suit made out of skin mimics a person. A place of pure magic and corruption that doesn't follow the same rules as here. A place known as The Other. But who cares about that when I can tell you all about these fine people? Except they're going to tell you about them, and then I'm going to tell you about them. I'm going to cut so much of this out. Anyway, Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I will be playing the character of Eskinder. I haven't decided how her name is pronounced. Eskinder, whatever people do. I'm just some guy.
Sean lies. He's actually a musician known as the Dread Geometry with an awesome album on Bandcamp, Messages from Basilisk. If you like what you're hearing right now, then find the link in the description below.
Hey, I'm Alex. I'm the GM for a group of folks that call themselves Bards and Brews. We stream over on Twitch and focus on variety, currently running 3 systems with the ideal of running up to 5 or 6 simultaneously. Chances are, if you like it, I run it.
Alex is right. Bards and Brews has games for every TTRPG fan out there. Bigger, epic games, amazing one-shots, interviews, and so much more. There is always something amazing to find at the Bards and Brews Twitch, so go give them a follow.
Well, howdy, I'm Cece, and I'm the DM behind Ein Memetic Mori, a Blades in the Dark actual play stream that you can find every Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We indulge in some very fantastic eldritch madness in Big OP, a city that simply cannot sleep.
Cece is the man to introduce me to Blades in the Dark and his homebrew city, the Big OP. We just finished the first 9-episode season of the Ein Memetic Mori actual play on DMDM Studios Twitch, so be sure to check it out. And also, stop by Cece's itch.io to check out his Session Zero gaming tool, The DMPC is Dead. You won't regret it. You are all on a train heading towards the town of Verdenglen. It is a decent-sized town, but you're on your way there because you are all folks who work for the Here Guard. The Here being the term that is commonly used for your world, and the Here Guard being those who defend it against the others, and that which creeps out and corrupts from the other. You are all traveling on this train to Verdenglen, this town, because your particular chapter of the Here Guard was informed that there apparently is an other creature that has been terrorizing this town and killing locals. It is not unusual for creatures from the other to find their way into this world and stalk people. They do not function the same as normal creatures. They do not hunt out of a need for food. They hunt to fulfill some stranger, more obscure desire. And that makes them especially dangerous.
Back and forth, up and down the train. When are we getting there?
I reckon not when we get there.
Pace yourself, pace yourself, pace yourself, pace yourself. What do we know about this one?
What you are familiar with this case is that there are people who suddenly seem to go missing from the town, and their mutilated bodies have been found discarded in the woods, missing various pieces and parts. That is all that the message sent to the Hearguard said at the time.
Someone is changing their flesh. Someone like me. Someone like me is out there.
Maybe even a little weirder, to be honest.
They always are, aren't they?
A little bit.
So you weave flesh, then?
Yes. Kind of. I have a way of mimicking people. And when I do, it changes their bodies, changes their forms. You may have read about me in your docket.
Speaking of dockets, let's look at the Cortex Prime character sheet I designed for this setting. Remember, in Cortex, these are custom-made from mods in the system, so if you play or make a Cortex game, it might look totally different, but the principles will be the same. Maybe. The three main trait sets we're concerned with, known as the Prime sets, are distinctions, roles, and attributes, and each trait within that set is rated by a size of die. When you roll in Cortex, you choose one trait and therefore one die from each of these three sets. Distinctions are descriptions of the character and are always a D8, but if you want to say one of your distinctions would actually work against you in a situation, you can roll it as a hindered D4 instead to gain a plot point, a currency players use for bonuses. Roles are general skill categories, and for this setting I had them covering fighting, crafting, socializing, etc. Attributes define broad characteristics, and in this mod have stresses. If a character takes damage or rolls a 1 when using a trait, they can take stress to that trait. This stress acts as a die that enemies can add to their dice pool when rolling against you. Anyway, if you're going to roll, choose one from each of these trait sets. Additionally, a roll might involve a specialty a character has within a roll, such as the fact that Hootie here is a flesh weaver, weaving being the magic in this world. So if Hootie makes a roll that involves his weaving, he gets to add that specialty die. And you might also be able to add an asset to a roll if it makes sense. Signature assets are narratively important to your character and are basically permanent, like Hootie's signature skin weaving spell here. These should normally cap off at a D8 in character creation, but what the heck, we did a D10. Temporary assets are made, found, purchased in-game, and typically last for a scene or two. Finally, special effects are more powerful abilities that have a cost that allows for some benefit. Hootie can spend a plot point to double the dice he gets from his speed stat, and takes stress on his social accord attribute to make his attacks more powerful when an enemy screws up. If all of this ramble doesn't exactly make sense, don't worry, there will be plenty of visual examples on the sidebar to help you learn as we go.
And since I imagine our Here God gives us a bit of information about the companions that we're working with, you might have heard about Hootie's particular scene, the way he ended up on the radar of the Here Guard. He was a goblin of a little street gang that got completely wiped by a party of the Here Guard that uses a bit more traditional magic than the deep, dark weavings. And they thought it absolutely delightful to take Hootie on as their party goblin, as you do. And he traveled with them. He, entertained them, did all the party goblin things. Except he had a very, very specific habit that eventually ended in calamity. He mimics people as they perform, as they talk, as they move around, and as they perform magic. And there was a time in which he was pantomiming magic, and the wizard of this here guard crew sort of produced the hand gestures of a fireball in force weaving. And he pantomimed them, and he reproduced them in flesh weaving. He flesh weaved a fireball.
Oh no.
In such a way, what he did was he changed their flesh instantaneously into the flesh of someone who had been wounded by fire. He immolated them without fire. He merely made their skin look like it was burnt to a crisp.
No,
And that here guard is there now. And Hootie is here now.
So as you recall this, Fennec, what would they have heard about you in the Here Guard files?
Miss Fennec is a refugee from a very distant desert country that we haven't fully created yet, where there are giant snakes and things are a little unsettled. But she's a scholar and a traveler and a wind weaver. Who has an unsettling habit of talking apparently to the wind.
Good conversation, huh?
Yeah. She wears colorful, like layered clothing, and it has bangles on it that sort of move in the wind and act like wind chimes.
And what would these two have heard about Wallace?
Oh, yeah, so there was that one time that I beat 10 men to death in a bar for disrespecting my name. See, they called me Walda because I enjoy my fine wine. So, I made fine wine out of their blood.
Eskinder takes out a little notebook and just says, "Don't call Wallace Walda." Underline.
My sister was very violent. I don't have good memories of the name Walda, all right?
Yeah, I do appreciate when people are open with their defects.
Eskinder's ear twitches right next to the window, and she looks. She cracks it open a little, and she goes, "No, I think they'll be fine."
So as you're all kind of talking and familiarizing yourself with your little thrown-together crew, you hear the whistle of the train sound. It is getting late in the day. The sun is beginning to set, but there is still a bright orange hue to the sky, allowing you to see the nice little town of Verdenglen. There are beautiful wooden houses with sloping roofs. You can see that there are streetlights currently being lit by a Sylvan who is kind of walking along, lighting them up. You notice a number of small shops that the train slowly passes as it is pulling into town. You see a baker, there's a toy shop, a general store, and quite a bit more. This town has a decent amount going on. If you had to guess that there's probably somewhere near the vicinity of maybe upwards of 1,000 people in Verdenglen. A train comes to a stop, and you all find yourself exiting with your various supplies and whatnot. You don't imagine that you're going to be here very long. These types of others, they always tend to show themselves. They always tend to leave some trail, and frankly, you would all rather be done with this as soon as possible. The one contact that you were given is the town sheriff, Riley Clintock. So that is who you are told to search for, but what would you all like to do?
I get off the train and I pace back and forth a bit just to get my land legs back. Oh, I don't like being on trains.
Eskinder just stretches, and her ears go back and up again, and she goes, agreed.
Pace, 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 pace.
Are either of you familiar with this town already, or?
No, I've never been here.
It's the sort of podunk town that my old crew used to kick about. Very familiar. Very, very familiar. But still so strange.
So that's another no.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to just ask anyone where the sheriff is, right?
As you're kind of discussing this, you see this Sylvan, a short elven woman who's going by lighting these lamps. She gets near the train station, looks at you, and says, "You all better get going where you're going. Sun's setting. It's not the safest around here at night."
Yeah, I reckon we'll be fine.
So we've heard. What do you know about that?
I mean, not to frighten you off from stopping here if you've got business to do, but there's another that's been picking people off. Nobody's really seen it, but well, I suggest if you're gonna go stay at an inn or something, you get going. As soon as I got these things lit, I'm going home.
That happens to be exactly our business. You wouldn't... Well, do we have time to escort this woman home?
No.
I guess so.
I mean, I'll be home not too long. I do my route, so I end at the last light by my house. I'll be in before it's dark, but also,
right, well, that's fantastic.
Don't know any of you, and I don't know if maybe you're the damn thing, so no offense.
Understandable. Don't let us keep you then.
Yes, this conversation is going nowhere.
If you're
just walk off.
If you're looking for the inn, it's down that street there, right-hand side. You can't miss it if that's what you're after.
You will notice that I was walking in the incorrect direction. And as she elaborates, I go in the correct direction.
I just really want a fastball special. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's when I pick you up and I just throw you at whatever's, fucking with us.
Oh, like those types of adventurers.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Maybe it will be. Maybe it won't. And I just march along ahead of everyone.
You get in the inn. And there is a large orc sitting behind the counter and everything. He's kind of going through doing some bookkeeping, and he looks up at all of you and he says, "You the folks with the here guard?"
We are. Good evening, sir.
Sheriff said you might be by today. I got a room set aside for you, but if you want to leave your bags, I can run them over to it, but Sheriff wanted to see you right away.
Excellent. Can you direct us to him?
Sure thing. He'll kind of show you where on a little town map that he's got kind of tacked up haphazardly on the wall.
Is it far?
No, not too terribly far, a couple blocks.
I will leave my luggage with the guy. I will inform him, just, don't be too concerned about the dead pig that I take around with me. I make sure that it doesn't, it never rots. Just a little pet project. I keep it fresh, just to keep myself fresh.
He gives you kind of a weird look, quirks his eye and shakes his head, and you hear him mutter, "Flesh weavers.
Yeah, he's weird. That's an okay reaction. He's weird.
And I'm still more familiar than whatever we're dealing with.
That's also weird, but true.
So let's go get acquainted with the strange.
I'll look to Fennec. Are we weird? Are we weird too?
I'm not from here, so I'm not exactly sure. You're weird for where I come from.
We're weird. Got it. That's disappointing somehow.
It shouldn't be. I traveled with fellows who were so convinced that they were just so normal, so relatable.
Yeah, now they're like inside out or some shit.
They're not relatable anymore.
Yeah. That's also very weird.
Yeah, so Eskinder doesn't have any bags per se. She probably has like a messenger bag that she carries around, but she doesn't give it to anyone. She'll just carry it.
All right.
Yeah, Wallace keeps his personal effects on his person.
Perfect. So yeah, you all head over to the sheriff's office. You are walking along the dirty cobblestone streets. It is definitely getting darker and darker as you go. And you finally find yourself in front of a pretty small, quaint little building marked Sheriff's Office. And heading inside, you see a grizzled dwarf. He's got a short, stubbly beard instead of the typical long, flowing dwarven mane. And you would guess by his look that he is a little bit on the younger side.
Mr. McClintock, I'm Eskinder.
We're
from the Here Guard.
It's just Clintock. No Mick, just Clintock.
Oh, apologies.
No apologies needed, just clarifying. It's all right. So you're here with the Here Guard.
Yes, we are. I'm Hoodie, and this is Wallace. Call him Wallace. Trust me on that.
Yeah, call me Wallace.
That actually is pretty important.
Well, I'll do my best to keep your names in mind, though hope you don't mind me saying, I certainly hope you're not here long enough for me to really learn them, if you can understand why.
Me either.
We come, we go. It's what we do.
So what can you tell us about these attacks?
Well, never seen the attack is the thing. People go up and missing one day, and first, we grew concerned that someone was maybe out lost in the woods. We have a lot of loggers out there, and did some searching and found remains. Wouldn't call it a body at that point, but remains, and now lost about 7 folks thus far. Suddenly they're just gone, nobody can find them, and send out a search party, or the last one found by one of the young loggers actually found the body. But
Eskinder is taking notes on these things as he goes, and she keeps putting her pencil in her mouth, and she says at some point, would you say that the attacks began outside of town and moved inward?
They may have, but not that we've ever noticed. I mean, if there's someone who's out in the woods who got grabbed, we've never found their remains. Only found the remains of folks from here in the town. Townsfolk.
No reports of mutilated animals further out?
No. Not a single animal among them that I've seen.
So what's to stop us from just taking a walk in the dark?
These creatures aren't that simple. They're trying to satisfy a very certain desire. Merely making ourselves look like victims, as we understand it, only puts us in vicinity of their agenda.
What if I
I need
like
to understand what they want.
what if I like tie you to a stick? Like bait.
I'm not small enough to fit to a stick.
Only ever seems to be going after individual people. We've never lost more than one person at a time. So, I don't know exactly what to tell you. Best leads I've got is, last person that we found the body of, who's gone missing, is, Pa Struthers. He's a human feller, nice guy, elderly, sweetest man in the world, used to run the bakery. But, well, about 2 days ago, young man Levi, is one of the woodsmen, was out there and found the mutilated remains while he was working in the daylight. So you could either, I suppose, talk to Levi. He could tell you exactly where he found it, maybe, though boy's a bit shook. He's a young lad, bit scrawny for a woodsman, but or I suppose you could go and talk to Ma Struthers. She's the widow.
What about the mortician? I believe I need to see the body.
I'm afraid we don't really have a mortician. I've got the remains here. Gonna have them burned, but if you'd like to see him, they're frankly a little sour at this point. But I can show you where they are if you'd like, if it helps.
Well, if there's no mortician, that merely saves us a walk. Show us.
He will lead you into a back room. And immediately upon opening the door, you are assaulted with the fetid stench of rotting flesh. They do not have a means of preserving this, but you see a sack upon a gurney in the corner. The sack is stained with browning blood at this point in time. It's clearly a bit old. And the sack is also not particularly in the shape of any kind of humanoid.
Well, Hootie, this does appear to be your area of expertise.
Alrighty then. It certainly is. There is weaving going on, and I would like to analyze it.
All right.
In order to do so, I am going to, well, to describe what I should be doing, if you would, oh great DM noob guide.
Of course. So, we're in good old Cortex Prime, and so we're going to be rolling our Prime set, which in this particular system that I've set up consists of distinctions, roles, and attributes. Hootie wants to kind of examine this body using and studying with his flesh weaving. So you would throw in your distinction, a D8. For a role, I would say that this is, I would let you... So if you want to try and more focus on the weaving element of it, the magic of this world, you might be leaning more towards scholar. But if you want more of a medical examination where you're really focusing on just medically what has happened to this person, I could say artisan could also be one, as you are a bit of an artisan of the flesh.
Mm-hmm. That's sort of what I was hoping to get at.
Indeed.
So what I think I'm applying is my weaving distinction, my artisan role, and my focus attribute to try and create some mental asset, some understanding of what this creature does.
Okay. Let's see. I suppose I could say that, yeah, this could definitely be using focus, and if you wanted, you could attempt to use your flesh weaving specialty to kind of let the weave flow through you and see if magically you can detect more than what you can see.
Alrighty then, let us see. I will roll that 4-dice set. That will include a D8 for my distinction, That'll include a D6 from my specialty. And then I'm putting my big, powerful abilities on it. My D10 from focus and my D10 from artisanship.
Yep.
Let's roll.
All right. Ooh.
Oh.
So, how fun, how fun, how fun. So, unfortunately, we have a 1 in that roll, which is a hitch.
Uh-oh.
And as the GM, I'm going to tell you that, Hootie, I'm going to pay you 1 plot point. So please feel free to add a plot point to your total.
Gonna take it.
But you are going to take stress and focus, and that'll actually start at the 2nd slot in stress, which represents a D6.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
However,
you
do have 3 dice remaining. You get to choose 2 dice totals to add together to be your total, or 2 dice results to be your total, and 1 die to be your effect die, which would be how effective this is. Whatever die you choose as your effect die, the difficulty I will roll will be 2 of those effect die, and that will be my total. So if you choose a larger effect die, one of your D10s, which both come up as 5, then I get to roll 2 D10s to try and beat your total. However, if you still end up winning, then you get a D10 effect. So you get a lot of knowledge about this. If you want to play it safe and choose the D8 as your effect die, then I only get to roll 2 D8s for the difficulty. You have a better chance of succeeding, but you're only going to know a D8's worth effect. So kind of a more middle of the road effect. So what would you like to choose for your... Well, I just asked what would you choose for your effect die, because the other 2 will by default be your total.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think I'm going to gamble here and choose one of those 5s from the D10 to be the effect and apply a total of 11 for my roll.
Beautiful. So we're going for a D10 effect. You are examining this as best you can. And my total is 8, which does not beat you. And therefore, upon examining this using the weave, you are first instantly aware that there is indeed flesh weaving going on this body. There are places where, first off, you notice there is no skin on this body. There are no eyes. There is no heart. And it's not unusual for creatures from the other to seek out specific body parts, not for nutrients, but for some otherworldly desire. And you would especially notice that where the skin has been removed, that it is removed with more precision than even a surgeon's scalpel could offer.
This is very familiar. This is flesh weaving performed in its premiere towards a collector's end. Sheriff, have others been missing their eyes, skin, and heart?
Well, I mean, we don't necessarily always find everything, but I guess I haven't checked for hearts, and sometimes things are mashed up a bit, so I guess I haven't seen any eyes, but they have all been skinned, I suppose. I just kind of assumed the bodies were mangled up to the point where the skin was just kind of torn about.
It wasn't mangled. It was made part of something else.
Do we think that it would be useful to speak to Levi at this point? We may have gleaned everything that... Well, he might know things about the location.
I believe I have found everything that I can of this subject. We'll need to talk to normal people in order to go into any more information.
Yeah, like I said, talk to Levi. He could tell you where he found the body. Or even go and talk to Ma Struthers. She, she is the widow. She might know if something was up with them or whatnot. Haven't found anything with other victims. I haven't had the heart to go and bother the poor woman. She's been in grieving, so...
Yeah, let's speak with Levi.
He will know of the location. Yes.
It's a good place to start.
We might speak to the widow Struthers as well afterward.
Widows are so capricious to talk to.
They cry a lot on account of being widowed.
Maybe I'll speak to her.
You may be the best to do so, Iskander.
So we will say, so you're going to go to Levi?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You're guided there by Riley. He will kind of take you over to where Levi is at. You knock on the door, and a very tall, very thin and gangly looking orc answers the door. He looks like he couldn't be more than 16 years old. He is absolutely awkward looking, with lower large teeth that are sticking up awkwardly. You can tell he's not quite used to them, and he looks at you guys. He's like, who are you?
We're with the Here Guard. We had a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Please do answer them.
Why? No, I talked with the sheriff. The other lumberjacks, they can vouch. I didn't do this.
Oh, we don't think you did this.
I mean, we didn't until you got weird about it.
I still don't.
He doesn't look like the type to be capable of what we just saw.
What do you want to know?
Foremost, we would like to know where you found the remains.
I don't want to go out there at night.
Oh,
no,
you don't have to.
You're not going to find it on your own.
Well, then you have to.
I don't wanna. How do I know you people could even friggin' keep me safe?
I mean, have you seen anyone else that, like, actively wants to go out there? At the very least, we got balls.
I don't want to talk about balls. It's weird.
It's a little weird. We could depart in the morning.
I want to use intense personage to bully this poor kid into showing us where this is. I want to just kind of like stand up and give a good flex and just let my physique show a little bit and maybe let slip the hidden long knife on my hip.
All right, so for the rest of the scene, your socialite trait is going to go down a scene, but you gain a D8 temporary attribute of frightening. And so you're going to try and intimidate this person into doing it. So what I'd want you to roll then is you're going to roll a distinction. We'll always be rolling a prime set. A lot of these explanations I'm just going to do in post, so don't worry. But so you can click on the D8 in your distinctions to add that.
Right.
So now for your roll, how are you trying to get this person? Because here's kind of the trade-off. A lot of times when you're trying to be frightening, it may be a socialite roll. So you've lowered that in order to get a different asset and everything. But you could try and like physically push him around too or something, depending on how you want to do this.
I'm doing the classic mobster just kind of shove. Just not enough to hurt the kid, but enough to let him know that I could break him like glass.
All right, I'll let you roll a warrior for that. And then I'm going to say we're probably going to do a accord for this, your social accord. So you can add that. And then if you go up to the very top, you can add a D8 after that as well. So you're getting a D6 from a cord, and then just add a stray D8 into it and give me a roll. All right. So I would say, so yeah, you can pick 2 for your total and 1 for your effect. Now keep in mind, once you have chosen these, he is going to get to roll against you, and he will get to choose his total and effect as well.
Right. So, with me being the noob here, I don't remember if I want my effect to be the higher dice or the lower dice.
Typically, yes. Because here's the thing. If your effect is higher than his, or if your total's higher than his, but your effect die is lower than his, you won't necessarily overwhelm him. He will get to stay in, but with a complication. So you'll start to wear him down. So, but if you want to try and get him all at once, if you have a higher effect die than him and you win, then he is immediately taken out and immediately gives in.
I just removed a dice by accident.
Oh, that was the D8. That was at a 4. So
we'll use that as the effect die.
All right. So you're going to go a D8 for an effect die and a 10 for your total.
Yes.
And so, all right. Well, here is his.
Should he have rolled 4 dice for that? Because it looked like he rolled 3.
I did roll 3.
Oh yeah. Where was your?
Sorry.
I think you need to add 1 more D8. So give me 1 more D8 because you didn't add your frightening.
I thought I did that, and I wasn't sure how to do it, I guess.
Up at the very top on the roll thing, there's just individual dice that you can add like that.
6.
All right. So, well, now you could take both of your 6s and have a 12 for your total and take the D8 effect. Or you could have a 10 for a total and have a D10 for your effect. Up to you.
I'll take 12 and add the D8 effect.
All right, so 12 D8 effect. Surprise, surprise, he's a teenager. He does not have a lot of dice to work with here.
Bullying teenagers.
There's no shame in it.
So, he gets...
Always okay to bully teenagers.
He gets an opportunity, which you could spend a plot point to reduce a stress with, but you don't have any stress, or you could use a plot point to create a temporary asset, but I can't think of anything necessarily that you could, and also, you might want to keep plot points for keeping yourself alive.
I'm going to keep them.
So, but he absolutely fails, and his effect die, he doesn't have any dice that can be higher, so you give him a push, and he immediately crumples back, and he's like, oh, okay, God, oh, fine, I'll take you.
I'll turn to my friends and be like, see, I asked nicely.
Huh.
To an extent, yes.
He's not
did.
broken. He still can walk.
I will help the young man up.
He kind of gets up, and he's uncomfortable, but he's like, all right. And he grabs.
I'll put a hand on his shoulder and say, well, if nothing else, we've proven that Wallace is enough of a brute to protect you. You know?
Builds character.
He will take you out to the woods. He takes you to the spot. And in the woods, shining a light there from a little lantern he brings out, you can see some old dried blood on a pile on the ground near a tree. But there are no signs of any kind of struggle. Nothing. There's no broken branches, not even any grass that's been stomped on, anything like that. It just appears, as far as you can tell, that body parts were dumped here.
All right.
Can I use my wind weaving? This might be a stretch, but can I use it to have the wind tell me if any creatures are nearby just out of sight?
I will let you give that a shot.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, give me distinction, of course. Give me explorer for that. You are using kind of your natural knowledge of the land, all that kind of stuff. Give me your wind weaving added to that. And
focus.
I would say, I would say probably focus for this one.
I'm playing to my strengths.
You roll any hitches, you're gonna regret it.
I rolled a hitch.
You did. Give yourself a plot point and the second slot on the focus stress.
Excellent. All right.
What kind of effect are you gonna take for that?
I'm gonna go with a 14 total with a D10 effect.
D10 effect. You managed to get it. In doing that, you detect nothing. You think there are maybe a few birds in the trees that get rustled by the wind, but otherwise, there's nothing else out here.
Eskinder's ear twitches. She looks around. She says, well, there's no one nearby. There could be a gate somewhere nearby between here and the other world. Could be that the creature comes from there at night.
Maybe he just lives in the trees.
And there's no one nearby.
And the others don't live with us here. They live there in the Vale.
So then maybe it flies.
That is a possibility.
I think there were some birds around, but they seemed like normal birds.
No one's seen any like gates or tears or anything like that going through the woods. I mean, we've walked through here doing searches for some of the other people a bunch. Didn't find any.
Hey kid, do me a favor, plug your ears. Put fingers in your ears. So we got bait right here. We just send him out. Let him go.
I don't
Look
know
at him. He's
that
like
that
a
would
lamb.
benefit us.
He's just defenseless. He's like a little baby.
You don't feel that that would be betraying his trust at all? We did
not
kind of
if we
insist that we
save
would
him
protect him.
before he gets, at.
When you told the boy to put his fingers in his ear, Rudy did it well. And so he doesn't hear anything that you're saying.
I'm just going to grab Hoodie's hands and pull them and be like, use the kid as bait.
What? Oh.
See, Hoodie likes it.
Work.
What if I went as bait?
I think the kid is far more defenseless than you are.
Yes,
I
but
mean, look at
a
him. He
creature
looks
from the Vale
pathetic.
doesn't know that.
He's practically pissed his pants. I mean, in fact, I actually think maybe he did piss his pants. He kind of stinks.
Yes, he did.
So you're perfect. You can smell the fear from here.
You are presuming that this creature is looking for fear.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. All right,
Could
maybe
send
we all
him
just
home.
walk off in different directions and scream real loud.
I would be in favor of that plan.
Boy,
Like, I don't know what you guys are
Ears,
talking
out.
about, but like,
Just
like,
out,
You
boy,
can-
out.
yeah.
Boy, was the man who died
Pos
and those
Struthers?
similar, would you say?
What's that?
Would you say that they were strong?
No, it's been all kind of people. Pos
Was-
Struthers went missing. The guy who ran the candle shop, he was like not strong, but he was like, I don't know, he was old. He was like 30.
Jeez, ow.
I'll just take a stress from that.
thanks for that, Klaus.
Yeah.
Well done.
There was like, I don't know, there was like a little girl. She was like 8.
Were they all alone?
They were just in town. You know, you'd see them like in town one day, and then all of a sudden, like the next day, they're not there. Like, it's not
Did you know
people walking out in the freaking woods. Like, after the second person went away, like, nobody's coming here. But, you know, people, they're saying, like, stay off the streets and stuff, but there's nobody that dumb going, like, in the streets and everything. Like, people are in their house, and I think people are getting taken right out of their houses. So, like, I was more worried about, like, you know, Ma Struthers or something. Like, Pa's gone, you know, she's like a frail old woman, you know?
All right, well then maybe we go check up on Ma Struthers, and if there's nothing there, we go take a nap in an alley somewhere and see what happens.
Or the running in different directions screaming. Yeah.
That too.
Well, boy, you've been very useful.
Go change your pants.
Thank you for the help.
Pants are fine.
I can smell you from here.
And so yeah, you go to Ma Struthers, and upon knocking at the door, a elderly old woman that I can only describe as Muriel from Courage the Cowardly Dog answers the door. She looks like she is probably about 70 years old. She's hunched over, kind of chubby, but you can tell, like, you know, kind of a frail old woman. Yeah. And she kind of tips up her glasses a little bit and squints through them and, hello? Can I help you?
Good evening. I'm Eskinder. I'm from the Here Guard, and these are my companions, Wallace and Hootie.
So,
we had a couple questions for you, if you feel up to it.
About my husband.
About your husband.
No, about the recipe.
I'm in a little bit of a hurry here, but
what could you possibly be in a hurry about? Your husband just died and you're old.
Just come into the dang house. Watch your way you talk to your elders, young man. She kind of hobbles in, and you can see that she's got like a little basket, and there are some canned goods and stuff, jars, that she's like got set beside the basket with a little blanket. And she's like, I am trying to put together some food for my grandson. Now, what exactly do you want to know about my husband that idiot sheriff hasn't already asked me?
Wait a minute. Your husband was snatched off the street at night, and you're about to go at night to walk food to your grandson?
She kind of sighs, and you see this like sadness kind of slump over her body a little bit. And she turns back to you and she says, my husband was on the street trying to bring some food to our grandson, Elias. Ever since his disappearances started, Elias has been acting a bit off. The boy's scared out of his mind. He's not leaving his dang house. And I'm darn sure that he hasn't any good food left. The boy barely kept after himself when there wasn't something lurking in the dark.
I'm just gonna turn and look pointedly at my companions.
Eskinder nods at you knowingly. Perhaps we can help you by bringing the food to your grandson.
Yeah, safer
I'd be happy
that way.
to help you get it ready.
I do not know you. I can bring the food to my grandson. If you would like to escort an old lady, I can pay you each $1. That's it. I'm on a budget.
You can keep the $1. I'll just do it. I mean,
we're happy to escort you for free.
You're old and there's a monster or something. I mean, that's like a problem.
I've been alive long enough. I've lived through some weird hullabaloo happening in this town and in the old town I lived in. You get used to these things, and frankly, I'm old enough to where I'm willing to take a few chances. If it's not a monster tonight, it'll probably be my heart in a week, so whatever. And she kind of, you see her hands kind of shaking as she packs up these little jars into the basket. And she kind of hefts the basket up. You can see she's struggling with it a bit.
I'll take the basket. Like, I'll just pick it up. Like, I can do it. It's like nothing. It's wicker. I mean, it's like a pound.
Fine. Thank you. She will hobble down the street. It is dark now, but she sticks very closely to the lamplight that the street lights that have been set.
I'm gonna elbow Hoodie and be like, "We got bait still. It's good."
I think we have more than just the bait.
Yeah, we got fresh packed goods too. I mean, this is a win.
They're not for us.
I mean, they are if things go badly.
She walks up to the door of a fairly small, humble little house, and she knocks against it. And there's a bit of a delay. Most of the lights are off in this house. until finally you see a scrawny, maybe 20-something-year-old man. He looks pale, he looks thin and kind of gaunt, and he looks terrified. And he opens the door and he says, Nana, who are these people with you? Oh, they're with the here guard. Now let me inside and let me make you a little meal. My God.
And she like rudely push in with the old lady.
Oh, like the old lady is ruder than you as she shoves her way in. And this young guy just kind of like shoved aside. He's looking at all of you and he's like, You're all here to like help out with my grandpa's killing?
Yes, we are. And by request of your grandmother, we also would like to talk about more kinder things. Well then, boy.
Yeah, like, do you smell like blood?
Do us a kindness.
What? No?
Tell us what you know.
I know people have been disappearing. They like go vanishing off the streets or from inside their houses even. And I know my freaking grandpa got taken away too. So, like, I've been staying inside and, like, he, like, points. And as you see getting into his house, behind, like, curtains hanging over the windows, you can see boards that have been poorly nailed up over the windows. You can see that his house has been kind of left unattended and that in a open room, you can see there is his bedroom that smells like it hasn't been cleaned in about a week. Just has that funk of someone who's been staying in his room. And you can see that he has a fireplace poker that is leaned up against the side of the bed. And he kind of nervously shakes looking at you all, and he's just like I really hope that you find whatever did it and you kill it, because my grandpa and my grandma are the only people that I've left in this world, so I can't deal with this.
May I ask about your parents? How long has it been?
My parents died like 20 years ago.
Under mundane circumstances?
Yeah, they worked in a little factory and everything, and there was like an explosion.
You seem especially worried about this, even in a fairly shaken town. Is there a reason you feel you might be targeted?
You hear from the kitchen area, which is not far away. The Moss Struthers says, "Oh, the boy's got a weak constitution. Never much liked scary things. Couldn't even read him a scary book. Man, would you please?"
No, it's fine. There's a lot of cowards in the world. It's all right.
I'm not a... Look, I don't know what we can tell you. Like, but I don't know. I don't deal with this stuff well. And as he's saying that, you hear a loud bell and a cart get near the house and pass by it, racing down the street.
I absolutely go look.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see disappearing around the corner, it appears to be a wagon marked with the symbol of the sheriff's office.
Here, and is anyone on that wagon?
Yeah, there looks to be there is a younger woman on it. She is a human. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your hospitality. We'll be seeing you, and I run after it.
Following.
All right, the carriage gets way ahead of you, but you know your way back to the sheriff's office. It takes you maybe about 10 or so minutes to get there. And you can see standing outside is this younger human woman and Sheriff Riley. And you can see them kind of turned away, looking kind of sickened. And the woman's talking with Riley and then notices you, and Riley looks up and he says, "Oh, so, you find anything with Levi then?"
Fairly little.
I'm sorry.
Showed us where the body was. Nothing else.
What did you find? It looks like you got something going on.
He opens the back of the wagon, and inside you can see another pile of very fresh body parts. You would guess that they've been dead for slightly less than a day at this point. And
I'll do it.
what's that?
Where'd you
I'll do
find
it.
it? Sorry,
So,
go. ahead,
Someone else found it. They apparently got Delilah here first, and she went out without informing me. And she kind of like shrugs and goes, "I was just trying to get it fast before dark, and it took longer. I don't know." And he's like, "Well, anyway, I'm sorry I wasted your time with the with it. So,
Oh, not at all.
well, I mean,
do we
now
know-
we've don't even have a lead. No one to talk to. I know your time is precious, and I shouldn't have wasted it."
Do we know the identity of the recently deceased?
He looks at you a little bit confused at that. And he looks back at it and looks to you and he says, "But that's why I'm sorry for wasting your time. It's Moss Struthers."
I immediately run back to Elias's.
Yep. Go get
I don't
that
say a
little
word.
fucker. I'm right behind you. Go get that little fucker.
I'm going to use a signature spell, wind speaking. I'm going to send a message ahead on the wind telling Elias that that is not his grandmother.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
Do I need to roll for the signature spell or?
I just yell.
Yes, for a signature spell, you do still need to roll.
Okay. Same stuff, probably Speaker of Gales.
Yep.
Explorer or socialite?
I would say socialite. This is a communication, a message. So your socialite, you can add your primal weaving specialty.
All
Give me 1
right.
sec.
And the focus?
Yeah, I would say focus on this one.
Great. I'm really working on getting more stress there.
Indeed. And then your signature asset, since it is you're using one of your signature asset spells. So
I
a
did
fifth die.
increase my stress.
You did indeed. Give me that
and
one more
I rolled
D8 though if
terrible.
you're doing your signature asset spell.
I thought I did add that.
Well, you added
Oh, no,
your
it's not
specialty, which is just the general primal weaving.
Oh, I missed it somehow. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
A little helpful actually.
Not
Yeah, it
amazing.
was not a great roll.
Yeah. Yeah,
Unfortunately.
all
So
bad. I'll take
step
an
up
8.
step up your focus stress by 1 more.
Okay. And I'll take an 8 with a D8 effect dice.
All right. Now I'll say with an 8, that is a simple enough message. I'm not going to roll against a difficulty on that. I will just say, well, I will. But I'm going to make it, this is a simple message. It is a known spell, so I cannot see this going wrong for you. So yeah, you absolutely do. There is a hitch in there, so you could actually pay a plot point to lower your focus stress by 1 if you would like.
And you gave me a plot. Did I get a plot point for raising it?
Yes, you did.
I will pay that plot point back to not raise it.
Goodbye, plot points. You were so
yeah.
brief.
it's very brief.
Hey.
All right.
All right, so yeah, you send a message to Elias to warn him about this. You run back, and as you get to the house, you can see that all the lights are off.
Mm.
And you can see nothing else at the moment.
Well, let's break the door down.
Yep. I'm just going to kick in the door real quick.
All right, give me a distinction plus warrior plus might. You can add your pugilism and stuff like that if you would so like. And I'm going to say that busting down a fairly well barricaded door that Elias had is going to be a D8 difficulty. So I'm going to roll 2 D8s is going to be the total that you have to beat. Your effect doesn't matter. You smash through this door like it was nothing. You don't even just break the latch. You knock this thing off its hinges and it falls to the ground. And inside, you can see that everything is quiet and nobody appears to be here.
Damn. Where would they be?
Hey, old lady. I really
They must
disliked
be-
your conversation. You were very rude about me and my friend's discussion.
Actually feel much better about you being rude to her now. We should head toward the woods.
There's nothing moving in the house.
Nothing seems to be moving in the house. You can try and look through it if you would like.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk. I'm not even gonna look. I'm just gonna walk through every room.
All right. Give me a quick, give me distinction plus explorer plus cunning, just for kind of your general sense of things.
Ugh. Oof.
Oh no.
Oof.
Man.
Well, I'm not going to pay a plot point for that hitch. There's just nothing. Well, actually, you know what?
I step on a rusty nail.
Yeah, you know what? I am going to say that actually, in doing this, while walking around this room, you are going to find something. This is not just because we only have so much time, but hey, you stumble over a rug that was kind of pulled up, and unfortunately, this trip just kind of confuses you, takes you off guard, and makes you a bit on the nervous side, and so you are going to take the second dot in the cunning stress.
Oh no.
But you also get a plot point, so.
You also rolled a hitch though, Klaus. He could.
Well, I did roll an
pay up-
opportunity. You could immediately spend that plot point to get rid of that, but that plot point could be
All the
useful
cool
for other
kids are
things
doing.
later on. Do remember that if you take a hit that would take you out, you can spend a plot point to stay in. So plot points
Yeah,
can
no,
be
I'm
a
good.
beautiful lifeline. I usually recommend holding on to one.
We're about to fight a beastie. I'm good.
Mhm.
All right. So, and upon doing this, when you trip, getting up in your frustration, you look and you've pulled a bookcase forward that was sitting on top of this rug. And behind this bookcase,
Of course.
you see a small doorway.
Oh.
It looks to be maybe about 3 feet tall. And it definitely looks like it shouldn't belong there because the other side is just another wall for a different room. So that door clearly does not lead anywhere here.
Hey, guys. I found something while I wasn't tripping.
Oh, that's what you were doing while you were making all that noise.
Yeah.
Well, you found something significant. The
Passage into the veil, isn't it?
yes, it is.
Yeah. That's why I was making the noise.
Befitting.
I'll open it.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
You open the
Yeah.
door, the gate,
Hell yeah.
the tear in the veil. And upon doing so, you can see a wooden hallway that looks like it should just belong in this house at first. Proceeding down this hallway, slowly but subtly, as it goes on for 10 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, the wood begins to twist, the ceilings begin to rise, the rafters begin to sway and bend in ways that wood should not, until finally you find yourselves at a sight that each of you has seen just a few times before, but you see steps leading into the pure black void that is the veil. And upon going down these stairs, everyone needs to roll me a focus kind of check. You'll roll your distinction.
Okay.
You can roll any which of the roles that you want, scholar or explorer or warrior, however you see your character kind of hardening themselves to the terrors of the very presence of the veil. And then your last one is your focus. And everyone will be rolling. This is just going to be, it's a pretty basic set of void steps. And so we are going to say that the difficulty you're beating is 11. So.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Yeah.
I rolled 3
hey.
hitches.
I did not beat an 11.
I made an 11, but I have a hitch.
No, I'm fucking terrified, man. Shit.
Unfocused my camera. That was so bad, Sean. Wow.
I knew I was unlucky, but that's amazing.
That's
I
amazing.
think maybe Iskender is dead.
Dear.
Yeah, so we just died, right? Like,
so
fuck.
here's what happens here.
No fights.
Alex, you failed, and so you are going to either, let's see where you're at. So you are going to take the second dot in your focus stress.
Okay.
I will say, actually, entering the void steps is a new scene, so any stresses that you have, reduce by 1.
Oh, nice.
That will be enough to keep me alive, possibly.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's all according to plan.
It's
yes, indeed.
really easy.
So yeah, you'll take that. CC, I'm going to give you a plot point because you are going to step. Let's see, where are you at for focus stress? After you got to reduce it by 1, but. So, okay, actually, I missed a thing. We should include this. CC, I want you also to roll me a D4. Because when your stress is down to a D4, you get to add that to your roll, and as long as it's not a hitch, you would actually have cleared that stress. So,
Alrighty then. Let's do it.
Nice.
perfect.
Cleared.
So you can use that in your roll if you want. Your focus stress is cleared. However, you did roll a hitch, but you did equal. Well, you need to beat the difficulty,
Oh,
unfortunately.
do I?
Um,
I have a way of doing something there. I can pay a plot point to add an additional die, which is my D4, to the roll.
Hell yeah.
You can.
Well, if you add an additional die, you could also pay a plot point to temporarily double one of your die. So you could actually re-roll one of your higher die if you wanted to spend the plot point to beat the roll.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty then. I'll double the D10. Roll another D10.
Oof.
And I'll add that in. Nope.
The King of Threes.
King of Threes.
So you're gonna
There's
mark.
nothing worse you can roll than 3 threes.
Well-
Nothing.
Please enjoy a plot point for hitting the third stress slot. You've got a D8 focus stress at this point. So, and boy, Sean, you managed to roll the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But hey, if your focus was down to a D4, you actually do get to roll that to try and clear it ahead of time. So you would add that to your roll as well.
All right.
So add a d4, give it a roll.
Oh my Christ.
So that steps it back up to a d6.
You're doing real good.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Dude,
You're just doing bad.
So
who did you piss off?
here's what I'm going to do. Sean, you've got 3 hitches. Now, I could pay 1 plot point to step up your focus stress by 3, and you'll also take a focus stress for losing this. What I am going to do is pay you 2 plot points. You are going to take the 1 focus stress for losing this difficulty check.
Okay.
And then you trip on the void steps. And you slip down the steps a few and almost fall off the edge. Right before... does anyone want to... Who wants to be the one to catch him? You don't have to roll for it, but if you'd like to canonically help him out, you certainly can. Or her.
Yeah,
I'm tiny.
I'll do it. I
So
mean,
Wallace manages to catch you as you go sliding off the edge. And you smack into the side of the steps, and unfortunately, you are going to take D10 speed stress. So you can mark the 4th slot on your speed.
Jesus.
Amazing.
And but you do manage to do that, and you hear the bit of the scream of panic from Iskander as she goes flying off the edge. The disturbing thing about the void is it is just endless blackness. There is no echo, there is no ambient sound, and so her scream almost seems to immediately vanish the moment that you stop her, and you can simply hear both of your breathing. And you all decide that you want to get off the steps immediately. And it has not been a fun time for you, but you all continue onward.
Yeah.
Until at the bottom of the steps, you find yourselves in a wooden room. And it almost looks like kind of a shop. It has the same basic structures. You can see that there's like what looks like a counter, but it's about 6 feet high. The ceilings seem to stretch up near about 20 or so feet, and all the proportions and angles are skewed and off. And you can see seems to be nothing really in this room except for there are little toy dolls that are set up along a shelf.
Of course there are.
I hate that.
Yep.
Okay.
And there is a door that seems to be leading into a back area.
I pick up a doll. How do its eyes look?
No.
It doesn't
no.
have any.
I'm gonna quickly just put my hand over its head and just like put it back down. There's no good reason for that.
Yep. I will
Does
say
the doll-
this, Iskander, as you're holding this eyeless doll, looking at the hollow blackness that is each of its empty sockets, the face seems to be a sort of porcelain that doesn't seem completely solid. It's almost as if it's a sort of glassy slime. But the body of the doll appears to be made of wood, but a wood where the grain almost seems to pulse and flow like blood through veins.
Why'd you pick that up, man? Just put it back down. Come on.
I regret it. I regret it.
Creepy.
I put it down.
You see dolls in like basically hell and you just pick them up? What's wrong with you?
As you put it down and you're all watching Iskander put it down, you see through the blackness eyes roll forward and look at you with this. And the eyes stare forward, and they seem unbelievably real.
No, see, if I just ignore it, it doesn't happen, and we just keep going. It's fine. No.
Are you so content to let the realities of the other reality just glaze over your consciousness?
Can't you just like mutilate that freaking thing real quick and we can just move on? Like, isn't that your
I
whole
look at
thing?
the doll and I need a moment to analyze. Does it look like any of the villagers
Oh, good point.
who have gone missing?
No, it does not. It looks like a fairly regular sized doll. Maybe a little bit larger, maybe a little over a foot tall.
After a couple seconds composing herself, Iskinder takes out her notebook, takes a couple notes, and she looks right at the doll and says, "Blink if you can understand me."
You see that the eyes just kind of shift a little and focus in on you more. And then you just hear, "I can understand."
No.
Wallace, can you throw that in the void, please?
I just yeet that little doll off into nothingness. I'm just like, nah, you have overstayed your welcome. Go.
You
Be gone.
chuck it out and it disappears.
I really hope that wasn't the soul of a villager.
Just set fire to the whole place. It's fine. We don't need to ever talk about this again. I'm never gonna sleep again, so it doesn't matter.
You talk as if this is your first time.
I mean, with the creepy dolls, no, but even when you expect it, it's still just, it's fucking weird.
Well, in some effort to undo this magic, for the remaining dolls, I will attune myself to the flesh that is present there. And it's just going to be so lovely. I'm certain this is going to make a positive impact.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't help but feel that what I need to do right here with my understanding of what's going on is to pop all the eyes out of the dolls. I utilize my flesh weaving to pluck every single eye
So
out
I'll
of the
say
doll.
this. I won't even have you roll. As you attempt to do that, you don't detect flesh.
Oh,
Thank God.
shit. They're not real
I'm
eyes. They're just
Delighted
really
that didn't work.
good.
Yep. In fact, in going closer and
Impersonations.
inspecting them, they seem like some kind of permanently wet stone. But the eyes and everything about them is painted on so perfectly that you, only through your trying to flesh weave and truly examining them, can you just barely tell that these aren't real eyes.
It's not actual flesh. I had a hypothesis that whatever was here was taking eyes to make these dolls, but no. They're not real. This is a non-flesh material. That just
I was
looks
right there with you.
so convincing. Perhaps the doll maker needed to see eyes. Perhaps the doll maker needed to see something in eyes that were about to die in order to make these.
The entire time he's
Perfectly.
talking, I am just throwing dolls off into the
Oh,
void. Just the whole
Wallace-
time. Just grabbing one, yeet.
Wallace, please stop.
Yeet.
We might have to talk to one of the dolls. I hate it as much as you do.
Just keep one.
I have not stopped. I just keep walking through the room and just tossing them off into the void.
I'll grab one, pull it off, just to make sure it doesn't end up in the void.
Thank you, Hootie.
You're
Do you
very
want to talk
welcome.
to it? Would you like to speak to the doll?
I suppose I could take a shot at speaking to the doll.
I will throw
Thank
both
you.
of you off if it starts speaking, I swear to God.
As you're attempting to talk with this doll and speak to it, you notice the eyes roll forward in it for a sec.
Nope.
And they stare at you, and then they just roll back, and there's nothing there again, just blackness. And the back door of this room opens up slowly, and you can see that there's just a long hallway
Not willing to communicate through this vector again, are you? I'm starting to think whatever we're dealing with might have another weave under its belt.
They might be independent. It might just think that we're going to throw it into a bottomless pit.
Oh yeah, the doll's wised up. Don't be creepy. Don't end up in the void. Good job, doll. Well played. You get to
If
survive.
that is the case, I actually really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's go through the terrifying door.
You go through the door and you begin walking down this hallway that goes on for seemingly hundreds of feet, turning and twisting, the wood growing pulsier, the sounds of this place creaking in a wet way. And you can see that along the halls there are little cabinets and little bins, and they're full of little parts for little dolls. There's fake hair, and there's these small stone eyes, and bits of polished, slimy porcelain stone. All the things that look like things you know, every single one of them wrong. But the further you go and turn corners, you begin to see larger dolls' eyes. You begin to see bins full of thousands upon thousands of teeth that have been carved from an ivory-like wood, in every sort of species and size. You can see wooden body parts, the same size as any of you might have. Hands and feet, ribs, skulls, some of them half-carved, some of them complete and ready.
I'm glad you're having a good time.
Master craftsman in our midst.
I guess you could say
Ladies
that.
and gentlemen, I do apologize, as I cannot quite overlook the quality.
Yeah, well, I guess we know what he's doing with the skin and the hearts, and yeah,
Do we?
yeah, I mean, putting it on top of the walls.
As you're speaking,
No.
you can see, occasionally you notice sets of eyes appearing in some of these empty skulls for brief moments before they blink away.
Yeah,
If I see that, I will point my pencil and at the skull and say, "Stop that."
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab one of them and just toss it into the void. Nah, we don't play with you here. Go away.
Little creatures, you pay attention.
Can't do shit without a head.
At the end of the hall,
We are not fond of your voyeurism.
Yeah.
At
Yeah,
the
what
end
he
of the
said.
hall, you can see a doorway. And behind that door, you hear the muffled crying of a young man pleading for his life.
Oh, we gotta go save the coward. He's gonna
Yep.
die. Yeah.
Let's hurry.
Off we go.
The moment you open the door, there is a large room, probably about 100 feet by 100 feet with a 100-foot tall roof.
Of course.
And all along the shelves, you can see these happy displays that look like almost correct Victorian-esque homes. And in these homes are displayed so very, very realistic-looking mannequins in various poses. And at the far end of the room, obscured in shadow, you can see something hanging from the ceiling on long limbs, dozens of them. A large
course.
shadowed head and a strange lumpy body
Ugh.
hanging about 10 feet from the ground. And in front of it is young Elias, tied and bound up. with his grandmother holding the rope behind him, perfectly still. And you hear a voice echoing through the room that goes,
"I'll be with you in a moment. I'm just working on my latest piece."
No, you can stop that. Don't worry about it. We're gonna. That's awful.
Don't worry.
This is
I've got a space for you too.
No thanks.
I'll keep
right.
you looking young and perfect forever.
I'm gonna die young. It's fine.
do either of you have a knife I could borrow?
Yes, and a knife will just appear in my hand.
That's amazing. I'll take it and I'm going to throw it in the air and try to send it with the wind to cut the rope.
That was my favorite knife, man. You can't just throw it. Damn. What if you like
I
chip the
apologize.
edge?
I'll get it back for you in just a moment.
All right, so roll me a check with that. You'll have your distinction. I think that for an aimed throw like that, I'm gonna have to go warrior, and you can add your weaving, and then I would say focus or cunning are going to be the one. I'm gonna say, this would be a cunning action. I feel like.
Okay, fantastic. I didn't roll any ones.
Those are some good rolls.
Yeah. I'm going to take a 15 and have the D10 be my... Is that a D10? I think that's a D10.
Yes.
When did I roll a D10? Where did I get that? I don't have a D10. What the fuck is that?
Your focus?
Like an 8.
Holy God.
Did you choose focus?
No, I chose cunning. Oh, I might have added it by accident. So that one doesn't count. So I'll take 15 and use the D6, I guess, as my... it's not as cool, but it's fine.
Alrighty. And so as you do that, and do you have any stress on the attribute you're using?
I do not.
No. Perfect. All right. So you manage to, this thing, a limb comes down from the ceiling and tries to grab it. However, you are too fast and you manage to slice the rope, letting Elias free. And we're going to say that that's you kind of initiating combat, because as this thing misses and you free Elias, this lumbering thing turns towards you and comes into the light, and you see what looks to be about a 5-foot tall doll's head, except it looks like the porcelain is melting and bubbling, and there are about a dozen too many sets of hollow eyes in this thing, all sitting above a large painted smile on the porcelain. And as it looks at you, you see a set of eyes suddenly appear in some of the hollow holes, and you see Granny, who is standing back there, open her eyes and look at you. And you see that the eyes in Granny's head look almost the same as the eyes in this creature's head, except the eyes in the creature's head are weeping and terrified. And it looks at you and says, Eskinder, you have initiated this combat by doing this first. You may decide who gets to act next. And for those of you who aren't familiar, that in the round, everyone will get a chance to act. The last person to act in a round gets to choose who acts at the beginning of the next round. They can choose themselves. So if you wait and let the big bad go last, the big bad will probably go twice.
Does Elias get a turn in this?
No. Elias is petrified and just kind of like crawling back.
Okay. I think I am going to choose the terrifying thing, the thing that I wish wasn't a thing that I had ever heard about. That thing.
All right.
Go next.
A hand comes down from the ceiling and is going to try and smash you. And its roll is going to be... Oh my goodness gracious. Its roll is going to be a 17 with a D10 effect die.
Holy God. That's against me specifically?
That is against you specifically.
All right. So I will roll some things to avoid that. Probably warrior, right?
Most likely, yes.
Or it's, yeah.
Speed can be a good way to try and avoid damage. Might is a good way to kind of like block it. Remember, whatever you're kind of using to avoid the damage may determine where you take stress. You can also use your weaving to try and defend against this, but, you know, if you fail, you may take stress to whatever you use for your weaving.
Yeah, I will use my weaving because speed is in a rough spot right now. So I'm going to try to use the wind to like push myself out of the way. And I don't see this working, but here we go. Nope.
Nope. And so
I will pay you. What number did you say you got? 17?
17.
I will pay a plot point to double a dice. When I double the dice?
It doesn't get added to the total. It's just an extra die to choose from. You can also spend a plot point to keep a third die and add it to the total. But if you got
do both of those things,
you can.
Okay, I'm gonna add a D10. And I'm gonna also pay a plot point to. So I'm using a lot here, but I'm going to use my 9 and 7 and a 3. So I get 19.
Beautiful. You manage to weave out of the way completely, and this thing's hand crashes, and you see some of the wood splinter and some of the wood bleed. And the doll maker is going to choose Wallace. You can go next. You gave the knife that helped, so you're up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna just break as many of these limbs as I can. That's my only aim. It's just no more squabbling arms and shit. No, we just snap those like twigs.
Beautiful. And I know that you've got, so you'll be able to do your distinction. You'll be able to do your warrior roll, your might, and then you can add in both your specialty die and your signature asset of your fists. So you can add all of those in.
Yeah.
How do I do my signature assets?
So
found it.
Yep.
Damn.
And then you're missing one. I think you need to add, you're missing a D10, either your might or your warrior. So just get another D10 in there. Those are important. All right, perfect.
Oh, that's a lot.
Boom. Hell yeah.
It's a lot of numbers, but there's a 1 in there, and I don't like that.
Yep. So I'm gonna give you a plot point, and you are going to take the second dot in your might stress. You are overextending yourself in doing this, and manage to kind of take an elbow to the ribs as you are. However, you are easily able to take an 18 for your total with a D10 effect die.
Okay.
Which I will say, not bad.
Yeah.
We will see if this thing it cannot beat that, and a D10 is enough. So this is going under boss rules. So for folks watching, it has 4 D10 as boss dice, Since you've done a D10 complication damage, that knocks it down to just 3d10 of boss dice, so it is going to also have fewer dice to roll against you.
Hey.
However, as that happens, it initiates its special effect. And you see, as you smash into this thing and the porcelain mask on it cracks a little bit, you see a number of eyes pop into the mask, and a number of the dolls on the wall, on the little countertops and the walls, begin to open their eyes and come down, and they are joining good old Ma Struthers and forming a small mob of dolls.
You see, when you do weird shit like that, it just makes you want to crack you in the face again. So you just, you gotta stop with the weird.
It never ends.
A threat.
All
Your
right.
friend's gonna like turn your skin inside out or something now. It's gonna be fucking marvelous.
So now, there is the mob of dolls, and there is Hootie. Keep in mind, if you let Hootie go next, the mob will get to go last, and they'll get to choose who goes next. So it may behoove you to let the mob take the next action.
Yeah, but like, I'm really looking forward to watching Hoodie turn this freak inside out. So I think I'm gonna let Hoodie do that and just hope that the mob comes for me, because I'm a big tough guy, and you know,
All right.
what happens happens.
Hootie.
This doll head seems to have strange flesh-like appendages that I am going to manifest strange occurrences in whenever I call to the veil. I see something. I see something through a gate. I go through a little ritual, and Hootie will go. The hands become the door. The door beckons the breath opens the gate reveals the veil, and the veil sees your eyelashes harden and twist and stab. And I am going to flesh weave the massive doll head's eyelashes into fine razor tip points, curl them up, and contract them into the eyeballs, which they are supposed to protect.
All right.
Terrifying.
Roll me that roll.
All right, so I'm going to do my weaving. I am going to engage in the artisanship of flesh. My specialty, flesh weaving. I am focusing on this, which will open me up to my stress.
Yep.
And this is my signature asset, integument weaving. The eyelashes are on the integument. It's something I know how to use very well.
Beautiful.
And
give me that roll.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes. Oh my God, no whammies. Wow, that's a good roll. Looks like I am going to have a sum 17 with a D10 effect.
Ooh, da lolly. Yeah, this thing is definitely gonna struggle against that. It does not even come close, and in fact, so let's see. You got a 17. Its best is a 9. That is a heroic success. You have gone beyond 5. And so, let me see here. All right. So that would just increase your effect die by 1. And so, you took a 10 as an effect die, which is already enough to knock off another boss die. So it is already weakened from that again. And
Yes,
it
yes,
also
yes.
now has a D6 complication. If that complication is stepped up to a 10, it will disappear and remove another boss die.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
this thing, it tries, and you can feel it trying to flesh weave against you, but it hadn't expected someone with its own talents to come wandering in here. And you catch it off guard, piercing the eyes, and without the eyes, the mob is blinded. However,
Hey.
upon losing its second boss die,
Oh dear.
you
Something comes of
see
this.
the smile across this porcelain face begin to crack and fall away, and underneath, a roiling, fleshy black mass opens a maw wide. Its mouth is at least 5 feet from side to side. There are rows and rows of false teeth of every race forced into the flesh and down into the throat, which opens wide enough to swallow any of you with ease. You can see that the throat is composed of the limbs and hands of small porcelain dolls, all reaching eagerly at you as it roars out in terror. And I need everyone to roll against its gaping maw scream. I will let you know what you're going up against. It is... Oh, let me clear those. All right, well, there are 2 1s and an 8. So the total you have to beat is an 8, and any of you may spend 1 plot point to reduce a stress by 2 steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Paying that plot point to reduce my focus stress. Gotta be Nate. Well,
What role are we using to defend against this?
Oh, this will be, so your distinction, along with, oh my gosh, where are you? I want distinction, whatever you feel this is much like the Veil, this is you steeling yourself against horrors. So whether it is you as a warrior or using scholarly knowledge to know that it's no big deal or whatever, I will let you choose that one, and then this would be your focus.
Okay.
right
Yeah.
then.
Yes. All right, and I will pay a plot point to lower my focus stress by 2. Thank goodness.
Well, I did not do well.
You did not. You failed, and so, however, because it had 2 1s, those cannot be used for effect die. So, it results in a D4 effect, and so you would, if you have, do you have any focus stress at the moment?
Yes.
All right, so that will just be stepped up by 1.
Okay. No biggie.
Alrighty then.
All right, and I know we're running short on time, so we're going to speed roll this. The mob is disabled. You have pierced all the eyes. It does not. The mob has been disposed of in a creative way I didn't even expect. And so this thing is going to, well, now it is Hootie. Who do you want to start the round with? You can even choose yourself.
Well, I'm going to choose myself, and well, I'm gonna do this crazy creature rotten, as its maw is revealed, all its crazy little doll hands. All I truly see is a new canvas. And so I will dive deep into my neurotic distinction, my hoodie, my mannerism of disappearing into my cowl and just imagining the most terrible tapestries of flesh. I call once again on my sight of the veil, and I will recite that the hands become the door beckons the breath breaches the gate reveals the veil, and the veil sees so many facets going in so many unexpected directions. I'm going to tug on all of the teeth and all of the hands within its maw. Teeth will unlodge and throw themselves basically like little bullets in different directions in the throat, shooting this way, shooting that, while the hands will basically coil back and scrape at the innards of its throat with their so many nails. And yeah, I'm using my deep neuroticism, distinction, my artisanship, my focus. I'm skin weaving since I'm working on the integument. And I am really delving into my understanding of this creature, its flesh weaving, and using it against it.
All right. Give me a roll.
Bada bing, bada boom. I've got a total 16 and an effect die D10.
All righty. It fails. Another one for this thing. And so the effect die D10, that is going to be enough. You knock off one more boss die. And
I'm going to do you one more because I am reveling in this. I am pantomiming. After I do my magic, I watch it just trying to resist, and I just mimic everything it does in a hilarious delight in its misery. And whatever it is attempting to do to resist is manifesting as a complication for it. I am using my pantomime. For every opportunity an enemy rolls, you can step up your effect die. So my effect die is a D12. I do this by taking a chord stress. I am losing myself in revelry in this moment.
Beautiful. And with that, wait, no. So that, you've got the D10, completely wipes it out. You have stepped it up. And I believe you have also gotten another heroic success, which steps it up again, which is exactly enough to wipe out the final boss die of this thing. Tearing these teeth out and hurling them back. You see them explode through the body. You see that they tear through this lumpy exterior, and you hear sounds like torn, muddy fabric ripping open. And inside, you see falling out these stitched together hearts that are all beating at different rhythms. And you see them getting punctured until finally everything is at rest. And this thing slumps to the ground, lifeless.
Nice.
Oh no, I rush
sort
up
of
there
scared.
and I start making castles out of the lumps of flesh that remain. Oh, you think this is your little dollhouse? Well, I am the superior artisan, and I will build a nation out of your flesh.
Staring at this, I call Wallace's knife back to my hand with the wind, pops into my hand, and I'm not even looking, and I turn to Wallace and I go, Wallace, do you know a good mind weaver? I don't want to remember any of this.
Yeah, it's called whiskey.
I'm going to say now,
yes, it is.
canonically, there is a whiskey in this world called Mind Wipe or Mindweaver's Mind Wipe.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
And
Oh,
since we are
yeah.
running so far over, we had little delays getting started, technical stuff. We will have to wrap it up here. But yes, you have all slain and torn apart the doll maker. And with that, the tiny village, or the not so tiny village of Verdun Glen is safe for now.
For now.
For now.
The end.
The next threat is Hoodie.
They're safe once I leave, basically.
Yeah.